Welcome to a new chapter in the Accounting Arc podcast, an exciting series of student-led conversations, ARC style. Get ready for fresh insights, bold ideas, and new perspectives. In this episode, we're passing the mic to a bright student interviewer who's sitting down with leading accounting professionals, changemakers known as agents of transformation. Whether you're a student exploring career paths, a seasoned pro looking for inspiration, or just curious about the future of the accounting profession, this episode is for you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Accounting Arc Student-Led Conversations. I'm your host, Arpan Grewal, and today we are celebrating International Women's Day, which is March 8th, with an inspiring guest who has made a significant impact in the accounting world. Joining us today is Kelly Mann, the CEO of AuditMiner, a leader, an innovator, and someone who is breaking barriers in the industry. I had the chance to take a sneak peek at her Agents of Transformation profile, and I have to say, her journey is truly inspiring. Kelly's story is a powerful reminder that women can thrive in any industry, and I believe that this conversation will be an incredible source of motivation for females of all ages, whether they are already in their careers or just beginning to explore the paths. But before I give too much away, let's hear it straight from her. Kelly, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. That was so nice.
Okay, so to kick things off, could you share a little bit more about yourself and your journey to becoming the CEO of AuditMiner?
Yeah, and it's a long story, but it goes real fast. I was in public accounting for the first 12 years of my career, and I focused in auditing. So I audited nonprofits, employee benefit plans, manufacturing, construction, you name it, all different types of audits. And every year I was told, try not to be such a bull in a china shop. And it actually came from the best place. Like if I wanted to make partner in this firm, I had to learn how to kind of navigate those politics within this type of public accounting firm. And I was the one that always challenged the status quo. I asked questions, I voiced my opinion, and I always found the problems in things in order to make them better. And that doesn't always come across great in a position of subordination, I would say. So after hearing this year after year, I had an epiphany, and it was that I'm okay with being a bull, but I'm not okay living in the china shop. Mm-hmm. And with that revelation, I quit my job to start my own CPA firm. And you don't see a lot of females starting their own CPA firm, let alone auditors starting their own CPA firm. So that was pretty scary, but I had a lot of support with the peers in the CPA and accounting community that really cheered me on and instilled confidence in me. So I went ahead, started my own CPA firm, and I started calling a lot of technology providers about what software do you have to help with 401k audits, because that is what I was going to specialize in my CPA firm. And none of the technology companies had anything. So we hung up the phone, we said, great, have a nice day. Well, they all started calling me back, scheduling Zoom calls, saying things like, we're also interested in 401k audit software. We just don't have an expert with the vision. And so after a number of calls, I tell people I had my second epiphany, if you will. And it was that, well, if all they want is my vision, I want to own my vision. So I canceled all of my remaining calls set up with these technology vendors, and I Googled how to start a software company. And that's the beginning of AuditMiner.
I actually understand that you started the company during the pandemic.
Yeah, so I actually started the company, I incorporated the company 6 months before the pandemic, so October of 2019. Mm-hmm. And I wrote a 49-page business plan, got a grant through the state of Nebraska, where I'm from, and I built the prototype. I paid someone to code the software for me. And that took about 6 months, and we were going to release the product on April 15th of 2020. And so that is when the pandemic was just starting. Like everyone thought we were going to go back to work in 2 weeks, right? But I had a personal, I would say, I don't want to say tragedy, but some complications. And I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer on April 1st of 2020. And so now I'm supposed to release the software with the pandemic, right? breast cancer treatment, which was stage 3. And then I had 3 kids. They were 7, 4, and 2 at the time. So needless to say, life got really hard in 2020.
Yeah. But you made it through.
Yeah, made it through. Just took it day by day, one foot in front of the other. I didn't work full time, I would say, but when I could work, I worked very smartly.
Yeah.
And I really put the company on pause because I had my own CPA firm that I was building up and that had clients. And then I had my software startup that was, we were still developing the product, and that continued on very, very slowly. And we ended up releasing the product into the market in April of 2021. So a year later, but I was still going through chemo at the time. And so I sold to people with absolutely no hair in early 2021.
How has it been going since 2020?
Personally, it's been going well. So I'm now cancer-free. I was declared cancer-free in March of 2023. So it was a long 3-year battle. And AuditMiner is going well. Also, we have 20 employees across, I think we're in like 12 different states now. We're a fully remote team. So everybody works out of their home. And then we serve CPA firms across the country. They range from the sole proprietor, like one-person CPA firms, all the way up to the top 100. So we have the gamut as far as size of CPA firms that are our clients that we sell to.
That's great on both the personal and professional front. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There really seems like there's nothing stopping you anymore.
I mean, so one of my favorite quotes, and I lived through this during cancer treatment, and it's funny because a CPA actually gave me this quote early on after my diagnosis. So someone in my CPA network had cancer long time prior to me, but they reached out to me and they said there was a quote that really helped me during cancer treatment. And it is that the difference between hardship and adventure is perspective. And I latched onto that quote so hard, and I said it to myself so many times because it is not easy to build a software company during a pandemic while going through breast cancer treatment. I really felt like the world was against me, and I had a million different reasons to quit, and I never did. I kept going, and that quote meant so much to me that I actually got it tattooed. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have a tattoo here with that quote.
Amazing. So you started to share some of the things that you've been balancing and the things that have been going on while starting your firm. Let me ask you, how do you balance career, personal life, and passions? And is there even a thing as balance?
I don't feel like it's balance is the right word. There's give and take. So there are times in my life, I would say times in the year, where it's a little bit slower for me and I focus a lot more on family. And right now is actually one of them. It's a slower time of year. And so I'm not going full speed. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night thinking about AuditMiner or ideas that I have or checking email in the evening. Everything's kind of under control, and I take this time to be a little bit more present with family. Now, once spring comes, so end of April, I'm going to be traveling every single week through the end of June. That is very, very busy for me.
Yeah.
So I'm dedicating a little bit more of that energy towards AuditMiner. But I make sure I have the resources and support around me for my family to help out. So, FaceTiming the kids, sending them postcards from where I'm traveling, and bringing them back little goodies that I get at conferences to make them excited. So I don't know if it's really balanced, but it's just what brings you joy. And for me, it's both work and family. I love them both, and I don't want to give either of them up. So I balance where I spend my energy for sure.
No, I agree. Also, the support that comes along with the family really adds to the joy of working.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that don't like to talk about the tough times that they experience and choose to focus on only the positive things. But tough times are reality. What challenges have you gone through in your career, and were there any times that you maybe felt like you wanted to give up or actually did give up?
Yeah, I never did give up, but there was one time that comes to my mind where I was so close to giving up. It was about 4 months after I was diagnosed with cancer. I remember it was June of 2020. And I was so sick. And I wasn't seeing my kids because I couldn't take care of them and I couldn't keep them in the home. But the hardest part is I found out that the insurance company was not covering my chemo. So I was going to have to pay for my chemo out of pocket. And they range from $5,000 to $17,000 of treatment. And I needed 36 of them. And I almost felt embarrassed that I had depleted our family savings account to start these two businesses.
Mhm.
And then all of this was happening, and it was terrifying. Like, we were going to the food bank to get food on the weekends for the children because we were so strapped for cash. And so we would go to the food bank, and I'd make sure to take off my like wig or my hat so I had no hair and people would see me because I was embarrassed. And that at that point, I was just mad at myself for taking that chance. But my husband was just phenomenal and, encouraged me. And he's like, there's a reason you did this. We can get through it. Just keep going. This is not a reason to quit. And I did. I kept going, and
Mhm.
I'm so thankful that I did.
Yeah. So looking back on that, what kind of impact do you think that that had on your life now?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, never judge a book by its cover.
Hmm.
That's for sure. And then I always give myself more grace. And when somebody, I would say, messes up, or if I do something wrong, or if there's some type of negative consequence that's going to come out of something, I just am kind of like, well, we're just going to have to deal with it. It's out of our control. We will get through it. And so I don't get too reactive or concerned or stressed from the little things that used to get me fired up or scare
Hmm.
me or bug me.
Yeah. What advice would you give for when those tough times come for someone or any potential barriers?
Oh, wow. Just one foot in front of the other. Just
Hmm.
try to just think about what you have to do next.
Hmm.
There were a lot of days where I was living to the next hour.
Hmm.
You have no idea what's around the corner, and so
Yeah.
you just keep going.
Yeah.
That is the best advice that I can give someone is don't, if it's truly a passion of yours and if you are enjoying the journey, don't
Mhm.
stop, because
Yeah.
the journey is the best part. It's not the end. Like, once you get to the end, you're done.
Mhm.
And so you
Yeah.
have to enjoy that journey, and just you just have to live through all of it, because that's where
Mhm.
the joy in life comes from.
I love that. I mean, I truly do resonate with that. I always say, always do whatever you want now because you never know when you're gonna lose everything you have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, Kelly, in your opinion, what are the benefits to having women in leadership?
Oh, wow. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. I think a big one is our empathy, how we see things differently than men do.
Yeah.
Um, we do see them from a different perspective, not only from a woman's perspective, but like for my male employees, like, I understand their family dynamics.
Hmm.
And I understand how hard it is for even a male who is expected to have certain roles in the house and want to be able to participate more, how it is tough because they have different expectations in the workplace.
Hmm.
I understand what it's like when one of my employees has a child that has to go to the ER.
Hmm.
Um, or even just, it can be hard to make friends in the world that we live in today.
Hmm.
And so I think that we have a different outlook on how to instill culture
Yeah.
and what values can really drive execution and change
Hmm.
within a company as well.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, it's like there's benefits to male leadership too, right? And so I think it's so important to try and get that balance
Yeah.
if you
Why
can.
do you think there is such a difference lens between men and women?
We're just wired different. We have
Mhm.
different genes,
Yeah.
right? I think that we're both capable of producing the same results. We're just going to produce them in different ways, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, one way is not going to look like the next way, but as long as you get to that end goal
Hmm.
and you do it, ethically, I think it's
Yeah.
fine. And we're just wired completely different.
No, I agree. I think it's also because women are seen in so many different ways by so many different people. So that really impacts the way we act in different scenarios as well.
Oh, absolutely. I talked about the bull in the china shop when we
Hmm.
first started this.
Yeah.
And there was a time when there was a man who,
Hmm.
one of the partners was talking about him in a room, and he goes, "You should have seen so and so. He
Hmm.
was just like a bull in there."
Yeah.
And like, everyone laughed, and it was a good thing.
Hmm.
But I'm being told not to be a bull,
Yeah.
right? So like,
Hmm.
how does that? It's not fair. It's
Yeah.
not. At the end of
I
the day, it's
think,
not
yeah,
fair.
I think a lot of people are just intimidated by like women's confidence. And if they walk into a room and they start to take over, their egos get bit down. So that, I think that just scares them in their positions.
It's funny because I agree. So my personality and my traits, like I
Hmm.
said, they weren't appreciated necessarily in a position of subordination,
Hmm.
but they are rewarded in a position of authority. So
Yeah.
now that I am at the top of the company,
Hmm.
and some men are my biggest cheerleaders a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to see me go, go, go. And I feel like I have goosebumps. I have this huge
Hmm.
community supporting me. But
Hmm.
I never felt like that with my traits and my characteristics when I was working for somebody else.
Yeah.
As women like that can sometimes be difficult to manage
Yeah.
for men. And it is the same way. I think that men that have those traits can
Hmm.
be difficult for women to manage.
Exactly.
We just don't hear about it as much because you don't hear about as many women in
Mhm.
leadership. But I've had male employees, and like it is different managing men than women.
Hmm.
It is.
It
And so
is.
I think that we're going to see more of this as women get more leadership roles
Hmm.
and just um, are out there a little bit more in the
Yeah.
community.
I mean, even on with me, I'm in so many different like student clubs and organizations, and we have like huge team of both men and women. So I feel like now men are kind of getting used to having these like women in like charge and them as leaders. So a lot of them look to me when there's like a problem or something going on because they just expect me to take over. And I
Yeah, it's
like doing that.
absolutely a cultural shift. And even looking inside the household, like men are taking on so many more of the household duties. So, for
Hmm.
example, my husband is a stay-at-home dad now. He
Hmm.
doesn't work outside of the house anymore,
Yeah.
other than just kind of doing odd jobs, side jobs, because he's
Hmm.
a plumber and he has a trade. But
Yeah.
that is not typical.
Yeah.
But because of that, my children
Hmm.
are seeing these roles reverse. And so I think we're
Hmm.
slowly going to see the cultural change and we're going to get there. It's
Yeah.
just not going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like that's like still a huge thing in a lot of cultures, especially in my culture of being Indian. The men are
Yeah.
kind of seen as the leaders of the household. They're the one who make all the decision. The women aren't supposed to really like speak out or anything. But my parents have always said, I mean, my dad only has three girls. It's only three of us, and that was kind of seen as like a bad thing and like negative thing on his life. So, but he never taught us any of that. He treated us like his sons, and
Yeah.
he has been our number one supporter so far. So that's been
I,
amazing.
I love
Mhm.
that. Yeah, a lot of it starts in the home with just
Hmm.
instilling confidence in girls
Hmm.
through school. And so the teachers,
Yeah.
I think, have a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so our next thing is that there's actually a trend going on right now on social media about people having coffee with their younger self. If you were to have coffee with your younger self, what would you say to her?
Oh, I have a lot of coffee meetings. I haven't heard of this trend. So I'm thinking to myself, what would I tell her? I would tell her that I have a lot of strengths.
Hmm.
And even if other people don't see them as a strength, the fact that they're getting noticed means it's a strength to somebody else.
Hmm.
And so if you're being told to stop doing something or stop being some way or try to be better,
Hmm.
that just means that you're not in the right spot. And there's somebody else that's going to appreciate those traits. So weakness is always on the other end of the spectrum, a strength. And you just need to find
Hmm.
out where you fit for that to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And I would have told myself, just keep fighting for what you want and what makes you happy and what you like to do.
Hmm. I feel like those words can really resonate with me and a lot of girls that are my age because we're going through that time period where we're very emotional and we're kind of just trying to fit into people's stereotypes and what they want us to be like instead of like standing up for ourselves and being who we want to be right now.
Yeah. And if you're going to fit the mold, you're never going
Mhm.
to stand out.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, the reason that I think I'm standing out is because I'm not the traditional female CPA.
Hmm.
And so I do get recognition because I'm not normal.
Yeah.
But
Well, who
is that
wants
if
to be
that's what you
normal?
want, that's what you got to be is not normal.
Yeah. So, based off of that, what would you say is the biggest difference between your past self and who you are now?
Mm, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I really went through a period of time where I thought I wasn't a good employee. I thought I was hard to work for. Maybe I still am. I had unreasonably high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I just was always being told of what was wrong with me. And so I didn't have a lot of confidence. And
Yeah.
then I went through the AICPA Leadership Academy in 2018. And there were a group of individuals just like me that questioned
Mm-hmm.
the status quo, that wanted to do better, that thought there was a better way to be a CPA.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I got my confidence back. I had a lot of confidence in my 20s.
Yeah.
It was in my 30s that I just kind of lost it. And now I am very confident. I'm confident in the decisions that I'm making. They're very hard decisions. Nobody can tell me what the answer is,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm confident in making them and knowing that if I'm making the
Mm-hmm.
wrong decision, there's always a plan B.
Yeah, I
It's
agree with that.
gonna be okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to see me like 5 years from now, I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. I was the most shy and insecure
Oh,
girl that was ever there. But I think the thing that changed that the most was a change of environment and
yes.
surrounding myself with the right people.
Yes. I
Hmm.
think I'm the exact same
Yeah.
way. That's what it was that change of environment
Hmm.
and finding your
Yeah.
community and people like you. It
Yeah.
like I can't even stress like how important that is for your
Hmm.
future
Yeah.
to find where you fit and where you belong.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what advice would you share with other women when they hit this wall or feel discouraged?
I think that you need to reflect and
Hmm.
see if you can move that wall. And
Hmm.
if it seems too hard to move, maybe you just
Hmm.
need to look through another door.
Yeah. I think spending time with yourself a lot can help with that as well.
Yeah, when I was going through this transition of like, I'm okay with being a bull, but I'm not okay living in a China
Hmm.
shop. I had a journal. I actually still have it. It's right here.
Yes.
And I was writing down all of my thoughts.
Hmm.
And I never journaled before that,
Yeah.
ever. But you're right, I did. I spent time with myself. I got my thoughts out.
Hmm.
And I just did a lot of reflecting. And I literally, I mean, I can't say it enough. I had never journaled in my life
Hmm.
before that. And
Yeah.
that journaling within 3 weeks literally changed my life
Hmm.
and got me through to quitting my job to start my own CPA firm, which just rocket catapulted my career.
Hmm.
So you're absolutely spot on. You have
Yeah.
to spend some time with yourself.
Yeah, because I actually left my public high school freshman year. So my whole sophomore year, I was sitting in my room all alone doing school. I never actually even left my room. And I lost contact with all my friends. My family were the only people I had contact with. So I had a lot of time with myself during that like whole period. And I really discovered that the person I was like trying to be like was nothing I wanted to be like anymore. And that's actually the time and period that I thought was the worst. I was gonna go down my downfall. I was crying like every day. I didn't know who I wanted to become. And like I was so mad at myself for doing this change. But then after that, I came out the most confident I could ever be. I found myself trying out things I never wanted to be. So I totally agree with you. And I actually myself had a journal as well. And the only
Really?
time, yes, the only time I write in it is when I'm like at the lowest point. And every time I
Yeah.
write and I write and I come back and I'm like, it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Yeah. You like look back on your writing, you're like, that wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But you have to go through these. They say that when you look back on your life, the periods that you're
Yeah.
most proud of is when
Yeah.
you went through that hardship, when it was hard and you came out. And so you
Hmm.
have to go through it if you want to change. Like
Hmm.
the caterpillar to the butterfly, right? It's just
Exactly.
part of nature.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. You really are a role model for a lot of women, Kelly. So I'm curious, do you have any role models yourself?
Oh boy, it's funny because I have role models, but they're the people that are close to me. Like my
Hmm.
my mom's a role model for me.
I would agree.
She's always wanting to help people. And growing up when I was in high school, she worked all the time. She was a nurse, but whenever she had a day off, she was always at my high school volunteering
Hmm.
or volunteering in the community, helping others through the church that she was in. And
Hmm.
so that's just a role model for me. And then I think my entrepreneurism, my entrepreneurship characteristics come from my dad because he had always wanted to start his own business
Mine
as
too.
well. It didn't work out for him.
Hmm.
But I remember like being in the flower shop with him and he let me do the cash register when I was 9,
Hmm.
10, 11 years old, counting back change. And he just gave me opportunity. And for them, it's my parents are role models. I really don't look outside of that a lot because I like to trust my own business
Hmm.
intuition and instincts, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm the exact same way. I mean, my parents are my biggest role models and my biggest supporters as well. They came to this country very young as immigrants and they had to sacrifice a lot. So I kind of am like, I'm living their goals and their life for them. So
Yes.
I feel like that's what motivates me in life the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 42 years old. And
Mhm.
sometimes I still think to myself, oh, I hope I'm making my mom proud. It
Yeah.
never stops.
Hmm. So I'm curious to know, what is the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
Mm. I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to something. It was actually just
Mhm.
recent, but I think about it a
Yeah.
lot. There's two pieces of advice that I still hold on to today.
Mhm.
One of them was you always want to happen to your week. You don't want your week to happen to you
Yeah.
because it is so easy to just get drowned by everything that you have to do, and you're not
Mhm.
actually making an impact on what you need to do in the future to be the best person you can be.
Mhm.
That was one that I think about a lot when I just feel overwhelmed and busy, but
Yeah.
not accomplishing a lot.
Mhm.
Another one is someone told me always live in the creative. And so if something is hard, if you don't know how to handle something, always think about the positive side of it. Take someone else's shoes. Think, how can I make this better? Kind of turning that hardship into an adventure. Always live in the creative.
Yeah.
And I always go back to that when life gets hard and think about what good could come out of this? What do I need to look
Mhm.
forward to, even though I have to experience this right now?
Yeah.
What can
That
I
is,
learn from it?
yeah. That's wonderful. So hearing that, what advice would you give to others?
Oh, I mean, it would probably be the same thing, but I'm such a proponent of just look for the joy in life. Like
Hmm.
do what makes you happy. Because I am so incredibly happy right now, and I wish everybody could experience the
Hmm.
feeling that I have
Yeah.
about life, about family, about
Hmm.
work. It's because, after going through those 10 years of struggle, I just said no more. If
Yeah.
this doesn't bring me joy, I'm just not
Hmm.
going to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Period.
even like seeing you like talking about all this, there's like a glow coming out of you of like passion talking.
No, I tell people I would go through cancer treatment again before I went back to where I was when I didn't have that confidence and I didn't
Yeah.
have the joy. I thought I was happy. I
Hmm.
did. I had a great life. I had a
Hmm.
wonderful husband, amazing kids.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the happy, and happiness isn't even the right word for it. Joy to me is different than happiness. It's like
Hmm.
it's just in my soul, and
Yeah.
I want everybody to be able to experience that. So if you're doing something and you don't find joy in it,
Yeah.
you're just not doing the right thing. Like keep
Hmm.
looking to find joy.
Yeah. Hearing everything you've shared with me, I'm curious, looking back over where you've been, is there anything that you would change about your journey or your path?
Um, I've been asked this a lot, and my answer, I feel like it's the wrong answer,
Hmm.
but my answer is always no.
Hmm.
With the exception that I wouldn't go through cancer again if I didn't have to. That one was really hard. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that one again. But those 10 years of experience, while they were hard, I learned so much.
Hmm.
So like in public accounting, because I spent so much time there, like I was in a great position to start my own business and a
Hmm.
software company. Like I know how businesses run. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for the people that did mentor me and did
Hmm.
teach me while I was there. So I would do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Um, I just might make some changes or do things a little bit sooner, but I'm grateful for everything that I have went through because it's made me who I am today, and I'm very happy today.
Hmm.
And I don't want that to change.
That's amazing. I feel like a lot of people could agree, especially with everything that happened during COVID. I mean, in the future, other people will look back and be like, that must have been the worst time of their lives. But I truly think that it made people slow down and really
Mhm.
just think about their life, where they are, and it gave a fresh start to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. We had to spend a little bit more time with ourselves than we
Yeah.
typically do
Yeah.
to bring that all in.
Yeah. This conversation has been so insightful, and I wish we had more time to keep going. But before we wrap up, I'd like to squeeze in one more question. As mentioned at the top of this episode, March 8th is International Women's Day. So, with that being said, what message would you give to the next generation of female leaders?
Mm, be yourself.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Don't worry about what others think of you. I mean, I feel like that's not a skill that you learn until you're in your late 30s, early 40s. And that was it for me. But that is what I see a lot of young women worrying about, I think, more than they need to,
Yeah.
is what other people think about them. Because at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. So
Mm.
you do you.
And everyone should find joy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's out there. It's out there. And it's going to change.
Mhm.
What brings you joy today is not what's going to bring you joy in a year or two. And that
Mhm.
is okay. Just keep searching for it.
Exactly. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today. Your journey is truly inspiring, and I know our listeners will take away so much from this conversation. And of course, a huge thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you'd like to learn more about Kelly's story, I invite you to visit www.we.improvetheworld.net and check out her agent profile and wiki. That's it for today's episode of the Accounting Arc Student-Led Conversations. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please be sure to subscribe, share, and join us next time for more insightful conversations. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making an impact. See you next time.
The Center for Accounting Transformation provides business professionals with a network for utilizing innovations that are ready for adoption, the training and resources necessary to apply those innovations, and an opportunity to engage the talent and community needed to further the pursuit of innovative accounting practices that drive responsible and mindful business performance. If you'd like to learn more about our Agents of Transformation campaign or share your own story, please visit our website, www.we.improvetheworld.net, and unlock the power of the accounting profession. And if you'd like to apply to be a student host on a future episode, email us at agents@improvetheworld.net.